You're about to go into a K-hole.
I'm going to a K-hole. We're doing intermuscular, so it's like
That's the real shit.
That's the heavy one.
Damn.
But it's nice because I don't come out feeling as nauseous. When you do the sublingual ketamine, I just get really nauseous.
And so, you want to talk?
Got a lot of thoughts.
You want to talk
dude.
about
I got
anything?
a lot of fucking thoughts, dude. Yeah, I want to talk about a lot of things. So I want to kind of. We haven't recorded a pod in almost a month, right? 3 weeks.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. So the 26th or 27th, I think, is the official 3-month anniversary of the last time I took Lexapro after 16 years of taking it. And the first 2.5 months, maybe 2 months, were pretty easy emotionally, I think. I keep seeing Instagram shit about how psilocybin, like heavy doses of psilocybin, can like treat depression symptoms for anywhere from 1 month to 6 months, like whatever.
That's interesting.
So I think I was getting like kind of a nice bonus from that. And over the last maybe 2-3 weeks is when I've started to like really feel some actual anxiety. And it's been incredible. Because I have finally had to look at these feelings and ask myself, do I want to... I don't even know how this is possible that I'm having these kind of conversations with myself at this point, but these feelings are coming up, and it's best for me to tell them in like accurate, like specific stories rather than speaking esoterically about them or in generalizations. So, people that are following along with the company, we're not really sure what's going to happen with the hemp stuff, and so we have made some decisions like operationally to try to like kind of batten down the hatches while we wait and see what's going to happen with like a significant revenue stream for us.
Mm-hmm.
And, when there's uncertainty in a market, retailers tend to freeze up a little bit. They don't necessarily want to carry a product that they're not sure they're going to be able to carry forever.
You don't want to have a bunch of product on the shelves that might get outlawed in a couple weeks.
Totally.
Which then gets punted down the road, and it's like, a couple more weeks.
And
then a couple more weeks. Yeah.
And then concurrently, like we have our Q4 is coming up, which if you're in the retail business, you have to stock up on inventory for Q4. It's your biggest quarter. So you kind of line some of these things up along with some other stuff operationally that was occurring, and we sort of have like a cash crunch. And one of my big triggers is financial. Like financial trauma is a deep, deep part of my equation. And I remember sitting down a little over a month ago, and it's a Monday. So on Mondays, I tend to do my cash forecast for my whatever. And I saw kind of what it said was going to happen. And I got really the same thing that always happens to me, man. My stomach gets tight, started getting a pit in my throat. My heartbeat starts, blah, 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 blah. I start getting really fucking tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. Everything is like on edge, and I'm just like, I lose my voice, I lose my ability, like my emotions go away, like I just fucking, and I just had this, it was very much like a moment of clarity where when I decided to, I didn't decide, but when I stopped drinking, I had this thought come to me that was like, Chris, if you keep drinking enough, you will eventually have the courage to actually kill yourself. And for whatever reason, that just like spooked me. And I had my like God moment, my moment of clarity, my fucking miracle. And I had one of those like a month ago. And it was basically like, hey, Chris, you cannot keep relating to money and to your financial security this way. You can't do it anymore. It's not helpful, and it's ruining your life. That's what I heard. I don't know what the voice was. I don't know where it came from. And I was like, okay, like it's time to try like a new perspective. And I just said, okay, well, what if I just trusted that like everything was actually going to be okay? Which obviously AA has been telling me that for decades, but like I wasn't healthy enough to hear it. So like I couldn't fucking hear it, whatever. And since then, it's just been a month of like trying that perspective on and being like, okay, what if everything's actually going to be okay and like it just might suck for a little while? And it's worked. Like it's just worked. And I've just had series after series of opportunities to try that on. And
yeah, it's almost like once you decided, then you continue to get peppered with like, here's a scenario. Are you still going to hold that perspective? Oh, here's another one. You're going to hold the perspective?
yeah.
How you doing with that perspective? Here's another one.
You sure you think everything's okay?
You see, look at this forecast.
Yeah. And then lo and behold, like the craziest thing, I won't mention the name of, there's just whatever, but literally like 2 days after that, we had like a significant financial win occur that came out of absolutely nowhere that never should have, never could have happened. I don't know how to explain it, but
I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
I'm talking about Cavenders.
Oh, right.
Literally
Okay.
2 days
Yeah.
later, a guy that hasn't responded to me for 6 months goes, yeah, can you hop on a fucking Teams meeting? And places a $1,000 PO.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
But then also, we, because obviously it's like you do the cash forecast, you're crushed by it, and then we talk about it, and then it's like, well, what can we do? And then we figure out all these different things, and we start figuring out, even without the Cavenders deal, we figured out several different strategies that brought in significant cash.
you always say that. You're always like, dude, in an afternoon, we can figure out a plan.
Yeah, time is so weird. Time is so weird because, and it's like I'm not like invincible to that same type of like tunnel vision, right? But I feel like one, because I'm not the one that has to do the cash forecast, it's easier for me to be like, it's going to work out. Mm-hmm. With the like heavy load of anxiety, it stifles all creativity, and creativity is needed to be like, oh, well, we could do X, Y, and Z. We could try these routes. We could like where are there? We have this bundle of resources, and we're going to get to this place anyway where we have to figure out how to solve the problem. And it's significantly more difficult if we are bearing the weight of unnecessary anxiety about the situation. We're going to do the same work regardless. And so it's obviously easier said than done, but choosing to be like, well, everything always works out. Like believing that, because and that's, you can just choose to believe that. And then when things don't work out, you can fucking reframe them. And if you just keep doing that, then like things do always work out. And so it's like, and even it's like, it's not even saying like, all right, we're not going to run into serious cash problems and have to fucking, radically change the company, right? Let's say that happens. Let's say like we couldn't figure it out with like some moves. It was not enough time, whatever. Like the entire company is fucked. All that means is like, now we got to make some radical changes. But then, and we've been there before, in this company many times, in previous companies separately many times, and every time you run into that and you make all those fucking radical changes and you get to the new place, you're like, oh God, this is such a relief that I'm here. I'm glad that so things always work out. If you believe that, like, because it's just like this always.
I know.
So you could be like, you could focus on the pits and be like, I always get fucked. Nothing ever works out. Or you can focus on the peaks and be like, everything always works out. And whichever fucking worldview you choose, you're right.
So fucked up. And so that's what I was trying to say earlier, which is like, okay, so I have that experience and it keeps happening where it's like, I have come to the conclusion that my anxiety and depression are, not to like belittle all the fucking science and the fucking research and the brain shit and whatever. But for me, it is a bad perspective. It's a bad take. And it's built up after decades of choosing that bad take over and over and over again to where it's so hard to believe that maybe there's a different take.
I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist.
Yeah, that shit. And what scares the fuck out of me is the idea that, like, I could choose to spend the rest of my life looking at the valleys instead of the peaks, and no one's going to do anything about it.
Nope.
And then I'm going to die. No one's going to fucking save you.
Yeah.
Like, no one is going to save you. Your friends will try to help. Your family will try to help. But if you believe something about yourself to be true that's not helpful, like, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I am trying really hard to change this self-limiting belief that I have about crying and feelings because they've caused a lot of damage and created a lot of anxiety and depression for me. And, like, my wife can tell me that it's okay to cry. You can tell me it's okay to cry. Other people can tell me it's fine. But until I believe it for myself, I'm trapped.
Yeah, nobody and no thing.
It's going to save you.
We grow up attaching our like excitement and feelings of joy in external things. Where it's like, oh, we got a vacation to look forward to. Oh, it's Christmas. This is my Christmas list. These are the things I want for Christmas. Oh, it's my birthday. I'm gonna have a party and I'm gonna invite all these people and it's gonna be so fun. It's like everything is like these things that we attach our feelings of like joy and happiness to these external things, and then they always let you down because they either like happen and then they go away, or they don't happen the way that you thought that they were going to happen. And until you can really like nurture that internal part of yourself, whatever you want to fucking call it, that's the only place that you can derive like real lasting joy and contentment. It feels like as I continue to make progress, I can get to that place a lot quicker, and I can recognize when I am attaching my feelings of self-worth or of contentment to external things. If I'm getting all riled up, it's like now that's just like a red flag. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know what you're doing, because it's always the same thing, like different scenarios, same underlying issue.
So, okay, so that's a thing. Then I get another opportunity to practice this perspective thing. I go to my PT. I saw my PT for an elbow thing. He's like, I want to do a follow-up in 2 months, make sure your elbow's fine, and I want to talk to you about your lower back that you've been saying you haven't been able to take care of for a long time. And I'm like, all right, well, when he first brought it up, I said, hey, I'm not in a place emotionally to deal with that right now because this has like been a problem for a while. I can't handle that right now, but I'm willing to at least talk to you about it in 2 months. So we do the follow-up 2 weeks ago. Elbow's great. It's like there's still some stuff, but it's exactly what he forecasted would happen.
Sick.
He goes, so let's talk about your back. And I'm like, all right, just so you know, like, how did I say? Oh, you want a shot at the title? You want to try to fix this thing? Okay, let's do it. Basically, you know, I fell at Crux at the climbing gym like maybe 5-6 years ago now. And I fell from the very top, and no one had ever like taught me how to fall. I never asked, so it's ultimately on me. But ever since then, my lower back has just been killing me to the point where 3 years ago, maybe, couldn't even tie my shoes anymore.
You used to say like, oh, eventually I'm going to be in a wheelchair.
I'll be in a wheelchair by 50. Like, just dark.
Yeah.
That ties back into this belief thing. But I went to a PT for 2 years. They couldn't do shit about it. Then I went to another PT, and she showed me this one move that basically like helps me maintain, essentially, but doesn't like fix anything. And then I saw, you know, this PT, and he's like, I think we could change some things. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, The only reason, and you and I have talked about this, but the only reason that the best athletes in the world are the best athletes in the world, there's a lot of people that are extremely good athletes and they have the genetics and they have the makeup and they have the practice. So why do certain people rise above the rest in insane ways? He said, the best athletes in the world are the best athletes in the world because they tell themselves the biggest lies and they believe it. That's what he said to me. And he goes, right now you believe that your back is fucked and it's not going to get better. And you don't believe you'll ever be able to surf or mountain bike or do all those things again. So what I'm asking you to do is to suspend disbelief and try believing that you can heal your back. He even said, when you do these exercises I'm going to give you, I want you to listen to ocean sounds. Bring your surfboard into the room that you're doing the exercises in. That's the level of like belief he wants me to get to.
A lot of people will scoff at that.
I scoffed at it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, yesterday I was walking around and my self-talk was, I'm healing my back and I'm healing my brain.
To be continued.
TBD on that.
We need to get your PT on the podcast
he would
to
be great to
talk
have
more
on here.
about that because that's such an interesting.
He's good friends with Tanner.
I think that things are significantly more psychological than people like to give them credit for. And I think that psychological problems turn into physical problems because it's all the same thing. Pain is a signal going to your brain.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like there's so much black and white thinking, just like the sober, not sober, physical, mental. It's like they're the same fucking thing, dude. Your brain is physical. Mm-hmm. And in some weird way, like your thoughts are physical. Like it's all the same shit.
It's crazy.
And it's the same thing too with like, going through a fucking cash crunch. That's objectively stressful for any business owner. The external conditions have not changed with this cash crunch versus any other cash crunch ever, but your beliefs, some might call it faith, has changed.
Yes. Pretty interesting. So, yeah, it's just been a really awesome month. And my back does still hurt. Like, I'm still going through stuff, but the scary thing that keeps motivating me is like, I could just choose to believe that my back's never going to get better, or I could choose to believe that I can heal it and no one's going to save me. Whichever one I choose is the one I'm going to choose, and no one's going to convince me otherwise.
It's fucking awesome.
That's terrifying. That is so scary to me that like no one's going to save you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that those types of big realizations that are kind of like monumental shifts in perspective on how you view the world, they're initially really scary, but then as you progress with that new thought, new worldview, eventually that the scariness goes away, and then it's like it just turns into your new belief about everything. Mm-hmm. At least that's been my experience with it.
So yeah, going to do ketamine today.
Yeah.
And we are going to ask the medicine how to heal my restless leg and see what comes up.
Man, I am so excited to hear about this. You're just like you're like the amount of perspective, like the amount of progress going into it's just once you're like really fucking locked into the path, it's just like it just keeps compounding.
Yeah, it accelerates.
It's compounding interest, something you understand and love.
Oh, yeah. I do love it.
It's compounding interest. It's like the more you do, the more powerful.
Bro, I literally think about that all the time. So like this morning, I was at the gym, and my workout was taking a little longer than I thought, and I wanted to be at the office at like 9:30, and I literally almost skipped out on the last set because I was like, well, if I leave early, I'll be at the office in time, whatever. And then the thought was, it was farmer's carry, and they're really fucking hard. And I was like, well, if I do the farmer's carry, I'll be at the office roughly 7 minutes later than I would be if I didn't. But if I do the farmer's carry, those muscles and the back and the core muscles will get to strengthen for the next 2 days.
That is cool. That is that really puts it into perspective. And considering you have no boss,
Versus
nobody
the 7
telling you
minutes.
that you need to be here at a certain time.
Oh,
Well,
my God.
that's beside the point, right? I mean,
Right.
it does make it easier,
Yep.
but also kind of not. Like, it still took you a fucking really long time to make yourself okay with that, despite the fact that it's almost like people that have more normal jobs with bosses don't quite understand the torture of being your own boss, because you're the most ruthless,
The
vicious boss.
self-inflicted. Yeah,
that you
imagine
could-
how you talk to yourself every day. Now imagine if you're also your boss.
Yeah. And the only way that you can fucking stay in the rails is if you're fucking really disciplined. If you discipline yourself hard.
Yeah. it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So, do you have any things that you want to share from the last month? You are in like a really interesting spot, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, so I kind of touched on it earlier, and I don't know how I might chop up that intro with Connor because it was
We'll
like
just
long
find some
winded.
shit.
But I've been since March, since attending my third ayahuasca retreat over the past 6 years in March. I had such a crazy beneficial experience in March. And when I came back from it, I was like, first of all, talk about like the glowing period after a psychedelic, like a healing psychedelic experience. I was like, I think I might be healed. I don't think there's anything left, because I just felt so fucking amazing and so much clarity. But one of the thoughts that I had immediately was like, I don't think I need cannabis anymore. And then as that glow wore off, I was like, yeah, but. And so then since March, I've been flirting with and oscillating between, is that the right word? Between like using cannabis and not using cannabis, and going on like, doing extended breaks and just using it less in general. Still with like peppered in some periods of time where I was using it more heavily or whatever. So it was just like this it's been this like really interesting period of time where it's like, what is my relationship with cannabis? And on top of that, I have this like weird thing where it's like, well, I also make and sell cannabis products. So like I've got a complicated relationship with this plant. And I am not one that thinks like, oh, there's absolutely nothing wrong with cannabis and you could just use it all the time. And it's like, there's no repercussions and there's no side effects and there's no addiction and there's no fucking dependency. I believe that it is a drug. I think it's one of the best options of all the drugs. If you're going to use a drug, I think it's one of the best options. For me, it is one of the best. It's definitely has been the best psychoactive drug option, where I have been able to progress in my life, and I've been able to be responsible on all fronts, and it doesn't put me in the gutter or whatever, like something like alcohol. But I've done a whole lot of thinking about, what do I really believe about this plant, and do I have a realistic view of it? Is it something that like I do want to be a product that we make and sell? Like I've contemplated that like since we started making it. And I always have arrived at this conclusion of like, well, I personally have seen tremendous benefit from it. And particularly as I was dealing with essentially the collapse of my last company and trying to figure out like, what in the hell am I going to do? I was dealing with like legit PTSD, like unresolved PTSD from childhood, fresh PTSD from this company that I spent a decade building, just literally collapsing and not being able to do anything to prevent it, despite my best efforts or whatever. And just the existential dread of like, do I have to like go get a job? Like I don't have a resume. Like what the fuck am I going to do? And as I was working on this company, it started by just locking myself in my office and saying, I'm going to design. I had this like fuzzy idea of like Texas themed design prompt in my head, and I'm going to design some Texas designs or whatever. And smoking cannabis back then was like this thing that allowed me to push all of the angst out of my mind, all of the worry out of my mind, and just it was like ADD medicine. I could just focus on a sketch pad, focus on like digital design, and that was my like medication that got me through that like really difficult period. And the early days of building this was super stressful too. Like everywhere I looked was PTSD triggers, because this company is very similar to my first company.
Yes.
So it was like I fucking hit the reset button, went back to white page, and had to do everything all over again. So every step of the way, it was like daggers.
You relived everything.
Every
like
time
the
I had
domain, setting up Shopify, launching the
Everything.
product,
Yep.
setting the Instagram. It's all the same
fucking
shit.
Klaviyo, e-marketing emails, fucking looking at a forecast,
Giving away
a
product to
financial,
people,
financial
fucking-
model, managing inventory, cash flow, all of these things that
Finding
I had
suppliers.
royally fucked up at my first company, I was now like having to fucking stare down, right? So cannabis was definitely used as a crutch to numb the pain of those PTSD triggers, right? And it wasn't until 2023 when I went to my second ayahuasca retreat. After that, I was like, maybe I have unresolved emotions, unresolved trauma that I should maybe talk to a therapist about. Never had that thought in my head before. And prior to that, talking to you, I was like, well, Chris is clearly somebody that has some like serious traumatic things that happen in his life. Like, I don't, and we've talked about this before, whatever. But like, so then started to explore the therapy route. And as I've been on that path, I've really, that's when I really started to progress as I started to pursue that path. And I have resolved so many of those issues that I struggled with in early 2020 that I've now come to this point where it's like the cannabis use, it doesn't do what it used to do for me. It actually, when I was using it in 2020, it led to clarity, and it led to a feeling of connection to something greater than myself. Because in a sober state, my head was so chaotic that I had no feelings of connection. I had no clarity sober. But now the same substance is actually, because I have clarity and feelings of connection sober now, because I've actually dealt with the underlying stuff, the cannabis doles that out. It is now, I think, preventing me from being the best, or it was preventing me from being the best version of myself. Mm-hmm. And in the, little over 3 weeks of not using it at all, which I've done previously since March, but this time with like a totally different perspective on it, where it's like I have no craving for it just because I see it more clearly for what it is. I've been making crazy progress on all fronts, on personal relationship fronts, on like just general discipline fronts, on just my memory, clarity, on like the work that I'm doing, my anxiety levels, and
You're having crazy realizations too.
Just the clarity that I have, and the now it's like it's like it was necessary to get through the really heavy stuff, and I'm still working through things, But it got to a point where it changed from being helpful to being a detriment to me continuing to work through the remaining stuff. And now that I'm not using it, I'm just making crazy progress. Now it's like I've cleared enough of the stuff out that I can sit with these remaining uncomfortable feelings in a totally sober state and see them for what they are and continue to work through them. And now it's just like 3 weeks is not that long of a time, but that almost like highlights how significant it is, because I've been working through so many things over the last 3 weeks that I just kind of had blocks up against.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's been really interesting. And I still view cannabis in the same way. I think it is an unbelievably effective natural medicine if used responsibly. I don't think that you should be doing super high doses. I think that even if you're using it to cope, you should be regulating the amount that you use,
should use as little as possible.
Because it is addicting. It is habit forming. It is you build a tolerance really fast. So if you are not keeping your tolerance in check, then it can run away from you, and it can be just kind of like, it can be a safer version of all of the other things.
Yep.
But it's gonna, by using anything too much, it's gonna prevent you from actually doing the work to get rid of the underlying stuff. So
big couple weeks. I heard
Yeah.
something go clink. I don't know if that matters.
Yeah, we may have lost a camera, but we could wrap it up here. So
Sounds like it's been a big month for both of us.
lots of growth, lots of progress.
And it all has to do with perspective.
Sitting with the uncomfortable feelings. That's the big, that is the big thing. I just keep, every time I come up against it, I'm just like, this isn't, I'm not dying.
I just like asking the question Connor asked, which is like, why do you have a problem with that?
Yeah.
Why does that bother you?
I think the logical brain, or the I don't know what you want to call it, but the problem that I know you and I both run into is like, oh no, this is like my brain's broken, and I'm just gonna feel like this forever now. And there's like there's not actually a way to, no matter how much we talk about this and see progress, like you can always get your vision can always narrow to such a scope that you're like, oh, I actually just have anxiety. Maybe I just have anxiety and I need something like cannabis to manage it forever.
Yeah.
And I can't actually, but like that's, unless I'm in like a very fucking narrow field of vision, like that's a silly thing.
And
because
you believe.
I've already, like, there's so many things I could point to that I've kind of conquered, that it's like, well then, yeah, there's just some remaining stuff that I'm going to continue to do the same thing that worked for the other stuff.
Yeah, you believe you can heal.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Faith.
I love it. I love it. I don't disagree.
Well, all right. So I guess this is episode 13, because Connor's episode 12.
Hell yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
We're into
All
the
right.
teens. We're teenagers.
I think that actually might be my text messages on my laptop.
Oh.
beeping. So I think we're good.
Sick. What time is
sweet.
it?
It's time for you to go snort some ketamine. JK, to inject it. Yeah, you got 24 minutes.
24 fucking minutes. I have to pee real bad. We can keep rolling or we can wrap it.
No, I think we're good.
All right, sick.